She said it was the worst pain.
double checking real quick. Why is he in the?
What I miss?
He's also on.
Don't remember anything, Angela.
I was gonna say, nothing stood out on you, but is something gonna be presented?
A lot of people that I know that have.
Yeah, Sean must be gonna call you out on something,
We gotta get Sean up there anyway, just to say his name.
at least
At least
4 times.
Yeah, at least one to 4 times meeting.
Yeah, cause we don't know your name, so yeah, I'm gonna need you to state it like a dozen times.
You don't wanna do it.
Okay, I mean, they didn't call you to do it. No.
There's one, you need quite a bit of people, a lot of days, and not making those.
You got expertise.
I do, but I know they don't.
We'll get somebody to play it.
No, I think it has to keep it there.
Yeah. She's gonna yell at us, they look at it.
No, we got that city clerk that makes us try and behave.
Lone survivor.
Yeah.
That Dylan guy.
Month over? Yeah. About the seals and special paid off airports.
Sundays I guess.
I mean, thankfully, we have a council member that actually provides decent candy, because Dylan doesn't always.
It was
But
just.
you attempted. You didn't attempt.
Yeah, really, Absalom has a tremendous,
Flavors, they must have been on sale.
I'm not, a lot of good came in as a day of attempt.
No, it's like pumpkin and Werther's.
Good came from-
So it's like.
hearing
But you don't
Except for-
have-
it's-
I don't think
it's-
that's.
It's
But too bad though.
hot.
Footprint.
You have to kind of be like,
That day would have passed on.
still not sure about that.
You're right.
Still just not. It's not horrible.
I think they're- Friggin' update.
Not really, he could be able to.
No, he just gets trimmed.
You know where I went? I went on the racetrack.
To that college, because I hear from college, the academy from here.
Yeah, next to the main league.
Next to Bigot.
Are you ready?
Oh, that one.
I think it was the one up here by, by the, oh.
You did a good job.
You guys ready on the left? Power half. April, Sean, how we doing? You ready? Susan?
Yeah.
Richard, you ready on the right? Okay, legal.
Thumbs off.
What about city clerk? You ready? City manager? Okay. All right, well. Let's start with evocation, sir. You would?
Is it appropriate for me to acquire one of these breast cancer ribbons?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Excellent, thank you. Let's pray. Father, as always, we pause at the beginning of our time together to just lean into your presence here with us. As it's the month of October, we pray a special blessing of healing of all of those who are surviving and battling breast cancer. There's so many families that have been affected by this disease, and we thank you for a time to focus our prayers on the healing of our moms and our sisters and our neighbors. It's a blessing to come to you, and we know that you remember them and never forget them. But we just ask for your wisdom tonight. None of us are equipped to do the business that you've called us to do on our own, so we lean into your presence with us and ask for your guidance. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Okay. Calling to order the regular meeting of the City of Mary Esther City Council, October 6, 2025 at 6 p.m. Would everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Now at this time, I'd like the city clerk to do a roll call of the council.
Councilmember Sutton.
Here.
Councilmember Coxwell.
Here.
Councilmember Lawson.
Here.
Councilmember Carter.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Oder.
Present.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Okay, item number 5 is approval of tonight's agenda. Do I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda, or does anybody wish to discuss it?
I'll
Make a
make that motion.
Okay, but first by Councilman Coxwell, Councilwoman Coxwell, and second by Councilman Carter. Okay, you got that? Okay, let's go ahead and vote, please. Okay. And we're unanimous. Thank you. Okay, item number 6 is special presentations. Found out we're not, the special presentations are going to be down at 11.1, 11.2, so a little bit later. Item number 7 is the consent agenda. Does anybody wish to add or subtract or discuss anything of the consent agenda at this time? If not, can I have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, first Ms. Sutton. Second Ms. Lawson. You got the names? Okay, great. Let's go ahead and vote. And we're unanimous on that one. Okay, great. Moving down to item number 8 is citizens who've requested a place on the agenda. I have a Mr. Bowman. He has requested, so if you would, sir, please go to the podium, state your name, address, and I'll brief you real quick about what we're going to be doing.
Okay, Eric Bowman, 41 Ridge Lake Drive.
Okay, you got 3 minutes to discuss, around 3 minutes to do your presentation. I recommend doing it to the council because if it's questions for city manager, law enforcement, or something like that, you can do that offline all day long, okay? But you're going to be timed. If one of the council members responds to a question you might have or anything, you will have another time after that to respond back to them. So basically, you'll have the last word, okay? So you can look at it like that. Okay, sir, go ahead.
All right. In case y'all didn't know, every driver in Okaloosa County is under surveillance. Let that sink in for a second. If you operate a vehicle in this county, you're under surveillance. And here's how. In 2022, the Sheriff's Department started using flock automatic license plate reading cameras. It's a good thing, helps solve crime based on license plate data. However, license plate data is a secondary, maybe a tertiary function of these cameras. These cameras gather and catalog information about your vehicle, make, model, color, body style, and any unique identifying features. Think camper shell, tonneau cover, custom wheels, window stickers, bumper stickers, you get the picture. So they have a very granular profile of your vehicle attached to your license plate. In addition to that, these cameras also log date, time, location, and direction of travel on every vehicle that passes in their field of view. Given the number of cameras we have in this area, about 22 in the greater Fort Walton Beach area that have been identified on a website, it's pretty easy for flock and law enforcement to get your pattern of life based on your driving habits. That by its own definition is called surveillance. And this information is collected and it's stored in a criminal justice database that's not even managed by the Sheriff's Department. Flock has that data on their Amazon web servers. Okay, so all of our data, all of our patterns of life, all of your vehicle data, your vehicle profile is in possession of a private company. In addition to that, that program is called Flock Fingerprint. In addition to that, Flock introduced a new capability this year called Flock Nova. What Nova does is it takes all this information, your profile, your pattern of life, and they combine it with other information to include open source intelligence, which is anything and everything about you on the internet. Think property records, business records, voter registration, social media, and there's some debate on this, but also data available on the dark web, which has been obtained illegally through breaches. So if you've been exposed through Home Depot, AT&T, OPM, Experian, pick one, they happen all the time. Nova can reach out and get that data and combine that with your Flock fingerprint data. Now they not only have your profile and pattern of life, but now they can get your personal profile, probably more granular than what your spouse knows about you. And we're paying for that to happen. And these, like I said, these databases are not controlled. Flock says that the customers own their data, but it's hard to own something that you don't possess. There have been abuses of this data. Just earlier this year, there was a case in down South Florida. I don't remember the city, smaller town. An officer was arrested, charged, and convicted for stalking because he was using Flock data to stalk his ex-girlfriend and her family. In addition to that officer, there was a captain in that agency that was demoted and suspended for 60 days without pay because he knew what was going on and didn't do anything to stop it. I guess I'm probably close to my 3 minutes, so I'll take any questions.
Anybody wish to talk about it? Huh?
I mean, that just, a lot of it's public information, you go and look at property
Yeah.
taxes and
Where you're going, things like that. Yeah,
put ring cameras all over. Folks,
agreed.
I don't know.
Yeah.
What is your point, sir?
The point is that we are paying a private company to collect on, conduct surveillance on us and collect on us, and then hold that data. And that data is accessible by anybody that flock deems needs access to it.
So what do you want the city of Mary Esther to do?
Well, there's 2 cameras right down here on Mary Esther Cutoff. Those could go away.
I have
On
something.
Augusta County
So
Road,
ma'am.
so.
I will tell you that I personally want those cameras because my house, I've had 2 incidents where someone has tried to break into my home.
Mhm.
And because of my own security cameras, I have located those individuals before the sheriff's department even did. So I do like those cameras. Basically, if you're in a public space, you don't have a right to privacy anymore in our country.
Agreed.
Whether you like that or not.
Agreed.
It's the way that our world has gone. There are cameras all over, and it's not even just flock cameras. And if you go on any social media site, every day I see new postings of, most of it's crime, but then somebody is just like, who's this person in my yard? Who's this person walking by?
Mhm.
I mean, some of it is a little ridiculous in my opinion, but it's the environment we live in, whether we like it or not. I do prefer that those flock cameras stay there just because we have had a number of crime, including, I believe it was either earlier this year or the end of last year, we had a drive-by shooting in our city.
Mhm.
Those flock cameras do come into play for that. And just like, as far as the web, I background check everybody I meet. I mean, if I'm going to meet with somebody, I do a full background check on them because personally, I don't want to walk in uninformed.
Mhm.
And it is amazing at what you can find online.
Mhm.
But unfortunately, it's the digital age that we live in. There are definitely pros and cons to the web. I mean, and data breaches do happen. Now, as far as like any type of deputy that has access to the camera using it for illegal means, I would fully expect our sheriff's department or whoever to prosecute that deputy to the fullest extent of the law. That is something that I don't think anybody in our city would absolutely stand by.
Mhm.
But I do know that it has helped in a number of cases. As you know, 98 is very much a high traffic area, and we do have a lot of speeders and a lot of wrecks on it. It's called Bloody 98 for a reason.
Mhm.
Those cameras have assisted in that, and I'm sure that Captain Ruiz could speak even better on those, on what the flock cameras have provided their department. I'd be curious to see how those cameras have assisted your department, and if the benefit outweighs the risk.
You,
Like, that
wh-
varies.
what we could do is, if you would like, he could come up and talk for a minute, real
Sure.
short, and that would be it. Is that okay with you?
That's fine.
I have one more question.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
My last question, you brought a concern to the city in regards to surveillance, as your term. In order to maintain the level of law enforcement that we have, do you offer another alternative to monitor criminal activity that we could take action with, that other than flock cameras? Since you bring us a problem, but
Mhm.
other than taking the cameras away, which lessens crime fighting capability, what would you put in its place?
Well, I would suggest to you that the flock cameras they help you after the fact. They don't prevent anything. And this is a new technology. They're able to they can look back and say, oh yeah, this car was here, here, and here, and here. So they can get that information. They don't prevent anybody
I'm
from
not
doing
talking about
anything.
preventing. I'm talking about in the business of public safety.
Mhm.
Those cameras offer us another alternative when things happen in our community. Your proposal is to do away with them. What would you put in its place that we have the same level of safety and security?
I would say that we had a really good level of safety and security before these surveillance cameras were installed.
You have,
I would say they're unnecessary based on their capability and what they do. I would be different if the sheriff had possession and control of the data. They don't. That's one of my big problems.
thank you.
Okay.
The
Sure.
thing I would ask, if you could send, as far as I'm concerned, send it to the city, any and all background. you caught me off guard here. I haven't had a chance to do any research, my own homework. I'm not
Yes, sir.
questioning you, but I'd like to do, like, with anything comes in front of me, I need some time to do my own research and study and understand. But so instead of, I don't start from scratch. If you
I will
could,
send you all
and
my
send, as
sources.
far as I'm, again, all of us,
Yes,
whether
please.
they use, I will guarantee, I will go through, I won't say I'll agree, I won't say I'll disagree, but I will do my own research and analysis and come back next month maybe, and I'll give you my opinion of what, but yeah, I will gladly look into this. But right now, I don't have enough information to say yay, nay, or somewhere in between.
Definitely
Okay.
good.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
You want to go up real quick? Yes, go ahead. Yeah, no, I mean, it's right down your alley.
Yeah, the big bucks for, right?
That's right.
Captain Ruth Sheriff's Office. So, where's last name?
Bowman.
Mr. Bowman, he makes some very valid points on some things. There's also maybe a misunderstanding maybe on certain aspects of it. Some of it is steeped in current litigation nationwide, and some of it is in conspiracy theory. It's kind of a mix of everything. I'm not a salesman for Flock or for any other license plate reading technology. I can simply tell you how the sheriff's office employs it, how we use it, and that way citizens of Oakland County can know where they can trust us. Best way of putting it. You are correct. We do not maintain the database that is correct. Flock basically limits the access to the precinct to the user who has it. Let's say you have an HOA or you have a law enforcement agency, whoever who subscribes to it, they control the data. Nobody else sees it unless they allow it to be seen. There's a lot of litigation going around the country about who law enforcement agencies share that data with. A big concern right now is with federal agencies. We do not share with federal agencies, not ICE, not FBI, not any of that kind of stuff. They do not have access to our data. Now, where he references the Criminal Justice Information Systems, the CGIS, that is not necessarily a database per se. It is the way the federal government makes states and law enforcement able to govern protect their documentation. How I have to log into my computer, I have to have a 20-digit password that can't be like the last one, and how I can't let private citizens see the database that we're on. It's a system that's put in place to protect the data. Now, what ends up happening is we maintain the data, or Flock maintains it for 30 days. 30 days and that's it, it's gone. If I, as a law enforcement officer, want to access that data within my database, I have 30 days to do so. I can't come back in 31 days and say, hey, we had a case where I need this information. Can I get it? It's gone. It's no longer accessible. If I want that data, I have to extrapolate that data and put it into our secured evidence system, which brings me to my next point. We can't willy-nilly surf as we want to. I can't go stalk my ex-girlfriend or my ex-wife or that kind of stuff. And to his own point, the system worked. A cop violated the rules. He was prosecuted for it. He was fired. It's unfortunate that happens, but there's fail safes. Well, I have access to, I have access to a lot of data. I can run a lot of different things and access a lot of things. I'm entrusted to do that as a law enforcement officer. You trust me to do that as a citizen. When you elect the sheriff who hires me to do these things, we have to operate on trust. I understand there's people who don't like the idea of surveillance per se. Yes, the tags are being logged, location, date, time, all that is true. It's all accurate, but it's only maintained in a database that's only accessible to the sheriff's office or those who we deem necessary to have access to that information, and it is purged in 30 days. So there are fail safes that are put in place. Everything is time stamped. There is transaction logs. You can't access the camera to do anything without having some type of log of what you're in there. You have to justify why you're in there doing it. Very brief overview. I will tell you that while he is also correct, they do help afterwards, right? They don't necessarily predict anything's happening. I would say this. It is somewhat sensitive information where they are located. They're visible on the streets. People can go try and find them if they want to. There are people who are trying to go out and actively find them and mark them on maps so citizens are aware. Really, all they're doing is marking it for criminals. That way criminals know where they're at. So criminals know where they can travel in the community and not be seen. How they can get into the city of Mary Esther, conduct crime at night, burglaries, property crimes, that sort of thing, and then leave undetected. It is a force multiplier because we are not 24 hours, right? So at night, they are force multiplier to be able. So when you have the drive-by shooting, I may not be there on the scene to be able to do it, but when a citizen calls in, I can go back and look and see what cars from that area at the time and go back and do it and research it. I can tell you since 2022, we've had roughly 100 and, don't quote me exact number, 160, 170-ish cases of success cases where we have used Flock cameras or the technology to locate stolen vehicles, missing peoples, robberies, shootings, and other high valuable, violent felony crimes. So they do have a place. They are here. They are widespread. I understand if citizens don't like them, but they can act with their power of vote. I applaud you from coming in and speaking to the council. The council basically has to do the research and find out if something's right for the city of Mary Esther.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wait a minute. Oh, I have questions. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I almost got out of here. Go ahead.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm a money guy.
Sure.
Who paid for those?
Who pays for them?
Yeah, who, did the sheriff fund them? Did the state fund them? Did the?
So no, it's actually, it's part of our general fund. We part from, they're approximately, and again, money changes, we, into contracts, I want to say they're roughly,
I don't know. I don't care. I just want to, you answered who.
Yeah,
paid
we pay for
and,
them,
and again, this goes through the county commissioners.
correct.
So they're aware of it. It would, my point being, this isn't, you decided on your own to do this.
No, sir.
They went into the county commissioners and they have a legal teams. It's sure.
It's in our
Okay.
budget, sure.
And see. Again, I'll be interested when I get more info. I want to do my own, I like looking at my own, but thank you.
Absolutely.
You're
I'm always available for questions.
Any more questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that concludes that. Let's continue on to public comments, non-agenda items. Does anybody wish to make a statement on something we're not going to talk about tonight? Nobody? Okay. Unfinished business, we have the second reading of ordinance 2025-06, the plating procedures.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. For the record, Tyler Reed, Community Development Director. Tonight, staff is presenting the second reading of ordinance 2025-06, plating procedures. So this ordinance is to amend the Land Development Code, the plating subdivision procedures to comply with section 177.071 Florida statutes consistent with chapter 2025-164 laws of Florida. So like I said, this was the second reading and the law became effective July 1st of this year. The first reading occurred on September 3rd, 2025 with a unanimous approval. Just to remind you, this amendment to the code is to help streamline the plating procedures and to provide for administrative approval. And that is, that concludes my presentation. Are there any questions?
Okay, I like the, no questions? All right, I'll let the city clerk to read the entire ordinance. No, just the cover.
Rude. Ordinance 2025-06, an ordinance of the City of Mary Esther, Florida, establishing administrative plating procedures as mandated by state law, amending Land Development Code 2.13.00, plating subdivision, creating section 2.13.02, establishing processing procedures and timeframes for administrative approval, plats and replats, providing for scrivener's errors, providing for codification, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the second reading of ordinance 2025-06?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Councilwoman Sutton is number one.
I'll second.
Woman Coxwell is number two. Okay, no more discussion. Let's go ahead and vote. Okay, it's unanimous. All right, we're back to on to new business. 11.1, making strides against breast cancer of the Emerald Coast Proclamation. Okay, and I've got that right here. And this is from the American Cancer Society, making strides against breast cancer of the Emerald Coast. Whereas breast cancer is the most common cancer diagnosed among women in the United States and is the second leading cause of death from cancer among women. And whereas in 2025, the U.S. will have an estimated 319,750 new cases of breast cancer diagnosed among women, 42,680 women deaths because of the disease, and more than 4 million women have a history of invasive breast cancer or were living with the disease. And whereas the American Cancer Society has invested more than $600 million in breast cancer research grants during the last 30 years. And whereas the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer, MSABC, program is a 3 to 5 mile non-competitive walk that has collectively grown into the largest network of breast cancer awareness events in the nation, uniting communities with a shared determination in the fight to end breast cancer. And whereas there are more than 150 MSABC events nationwide, with more than 863,000 participants and have raised more than $46 million. And whereas the Making of Strides Against Breast Cancer program is uniting our communities and raising money to help the American Cancer Society fund breakthrough breast cancer research, provide free information and support, and help reduce breast cancer risk or allow early detection so it may be more treatable. And whereas the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer on the Emerald Coast envisions a future where our children no longer live with the threat of breast cancer, and where everyone has a fair and just opportunity to prevent, find, treat, and survive this disease. And whereas by supporting the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer on the Emerald Coast movement, you help ensure the American Cancer Society can continue fighting for the same vision. Now, therefore, I, Chris Stein, Mayor of the City of Mary Esther, Florida, do hereby proclaim the month of October as Making Strides Against Breast Cancer Month in Mary Esther, and encourage citizens to help save lives from breast cancer by decorating your businesses and neighborhoods in pink as part of the movement, and encourage citizens to participate in the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer of the Emerald Coast held at Northwest Florida State College in Niceville on October 18th, 2025 at 8 a.m. So done this 6th day of October, 2025. And that is a big event, a big event for a big problem the society has. And I hope it all works out and things get going on it. So I'm asking now for a motion for me to sign this proclamation.
Make that motion.
I have a first, Ms. Sutton.
I'll second.
And a second, Mr. Larson. Okay. Any discussion? Let's go ahead and vote. It's unanimous. Calvin, you want to take a picture or somebody? April, sit up there.
Yeah.
So we're going to come up to you.
Thank you.
Getting out of it this early. Anybody else would like to have a picture?
Really? Yeah, really.
Really? Put your computer down a little bit and go here.
There you go.
Get it.
Yeah.
Get
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Don't bite too hard.
You, hey.
Thank you so much. Okay, can I say a couple words?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thanks,
Go to
movie.
the microphone.
Yeah.
Thanks, movie.
Strawberry banana.
No, it's all on the flat cameras.
And on the
Sorry. No, I just wanted to point out briefly, thank you again for issuing a proclamation again this year. For those who don't know, April is an amazing cancer survivor, and I love her dearly. And as the mayor said, this is a big event. There's about 150 or so in the country, so we're honored to actually have two in our area. We have one for the Emerald Coast and one in Pensacola, so that a testament to, you know, the fundraising that happens in this area and what stays locally here for research and helping those who are afflicted with this disease. And so I left some little postcards up there, 2 QR codes, one to register for the event. The other one, you can like us on Facebook, and there's some pink ribbons up there. So we hope to see you all out there on October 18th. I know April's coming. And thank you.
And ma'am,
Thank you.
ma'am,
Oh.
what is your name?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Jean Grieve. I'm the event chair this year
Thank you.
Thank
and
you.
for the
very-
last year.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Thank
Okay, moving on is 11.2 is City Week proclamation. And it's going to read that one too. Florida City Week, whereas city government is the government closest to most citizens and is one of the most direct daily impact upon its residents. And whereas municipal government provides services and programs that enhance the quality of life for residents, making their city their home. And whereas city government is administered for and by its citizens and is dependent upon public commitment to an understanding of its many responsibilities. And whereas the city government officials and employees share the responsibility to pass along the understanding of public services and their benefits. And whereas Florida City Week offers an important opportunity for elected officials and city staff to spread the word to all citizens of Florida that they can shape and influence this branch of government. And whereas the Florida League of Cities and its member cities have joined together to teach citizens about municipal government through a variety of activities. Now, therefore, I, Chris Stein, Mayor of the City of Mary Esther, Florida, do hereby proclaim the week of October 20th, 2025 through October 26th, 2025 as Florida City Week in the City of Mary Esther and encourage all citizens, city government officials, and employees to participate in events that recognize and celebrate Florida City Week. So done the 6th day of October, 2025. Okay, do I have a motion to sign this document?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, first, Mr. Odor,
I'll second.
and second, Ms. Sutton. Okay, let's go ahead and vote. Okay, it's unanimous. Thank you. And just one question I have for people that the residents would like to know what's going on that week.
Yes.
Where can they get this information?
Correct.
It'll be put out on Facebook.
And Facebook. Okay. Will the library also have?
They can, yes.
They can too. Okay. All right. Moving on, 11.3 is animal control contract update. City manager, you want to take that away?
Yes, Mayor and Council, provide a little bit of background here. But on June 10th, PAWS terminated our contract for animal control services. Subsequently, Council asked staff to look at some other options. I think as most of us know, there weren't really any great options, frankly, for our area. The Okaloosa Board of County Commissioners approved a new contract with PAWS on August 19th, and that was signed September 23rd. And so what staff really is looking for here is some direction on where council might want to go with this service. We do have a proposed contract from PAWS at $6.50 per capita, which is the same rate that's been offered to other cities. The Okaloosa County agreement doesn't specify a per capita rate, but when you do the math, it's pretty close to $6.50. So you have a couple different contracts here for review, and I think the most important thing is us understanding if you want us to engage in negotiations for a new contract, and if so, do you want us to move with the draft contract that they sent us, or try to use the Okaloosa County contract?
Okay, discussion? What do you guys want to do?
I have some comments.
Okay.
Jared, where is the lady that runs PAWS? Was she asked to be here today?
She mentioned whether or not the city wanted her to come and present, and I said that they were welcome to come and present.
Okay, but they're not. So I'm presuming she will present something to the press come tomorrow.
I don't have any comment.
Mm-hmm. I do not care to go forward with a contract with PAWS. I do not believe that they are healthy enough to sustain even be in business for the next 12 months. Therefore, at best, I'd be willing to entertain a 3 to 6 month max contract with them.
Okay, anybody else? An idea?
I mean, it's thrown out there in the public. I mean, they're making it quite well known that they're in strife, you know. But there are some things on our draft, like number 8, the equipment and vehicles. I don't understand how we would be liable for leases that they obtain, and then if we leave the contract for reasons that we still have to pay their lease vehicles.
Yeah, Jared and I've spoken about that, and that gave both of us heartburn. I mean, I don't think that we would just take their contract at face value. There would be some negotiations. And then we can bring back the best negotiated contract, you know, to the council if that's what you want. if you're telling us not to, then we won't waste the time and resources to go back and try to negotiate. I think we all understand there's not really necessarily at this point any other game in town for animal services. I know there's been speculation about the county looking at standing up something. Uh, Even if they do, that's not something that's going to be stood up tomorrow or probably next month. And then there would probably be some negotiating with the county on what the cost would be and what those services might be. So, as Jared said, yeah, we agree that I would
Remove.
caution against agreeing to a contract with that language in there.
Yeah.
There's some other things
Oh, yeah.
as well. So, but as I stated a little while ago, I think, our position after Jared and I have spoken about it is, are we wasting is Jared wasting his time? Am I going to be wasting my time, redlining a lease, or I'm sorry, a contract that's never going to go anywhere? So obviously we want to make sure we're putting time and resources to something that the council really wants us to do. We were somewhat surprised that the county commission had signed or executed that. We got that information. Jared immediately sent it to you
Yeah, and it was a
guys.
month difference from the
Right.
projected, where they approved it in a month. So you got to wonder what happened in that month that took a month to sign. And then reading the contract, it's a tight contract. The county has really put the thumb on them.
And,
I
I mean,
don't-
that could be the model for ours if you decide you want to do that. If
I
they
think-
say no, then, I mean, we can report that back.
Well, we're responsible for the transparency and accountability for our citizens, and, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not comfortable asking our taxpayers to keep throwing money at a sinking ship. I don't think it's fair. I do think that any animal control services should be paid, what they are due, but unfortunately, that contract is horrendous, and I would never want our city to sign that as it's written. But like I said, I mean, Councilmember Coxwell is right. They are constantly advertising that they are in dire straits. So I don't understand the point of giving them money, and then we are right back here in a month because they couldn't make the rent or whatever, and they closed the doors, and then we're responsible for whatever leased vehicles. Yeah,
Good.
my vote is a no on this contract.
Question.
No on a contract or no on pause?
This one that is
On
the
pa-
draft.
For me, it's a hard no on pause altogether.
Yeah, that's where we want to be, like the
We have no
attorney
other
was
option.
talking about.
I-
Our issue.
Do,
We're
does,
a police department. We don't
does,
court-
does the council want pause
I think,
under any contract? And if the answer is no, then we're not going to waste their time getting a contract. But if you guys want pause, then I guess we're going to task the attorney and city manager to come up with a contract for you guys to approve. So do you guys, I mean,
it's
Ms.
not,
Sutton said she doesn't want pause.
right, and I think it's not, we want animal control. And
Yes.
right now, pause
Is the only.
really is our only option. But with this draft contract, no.
Right, I understand that, but the contract apart, you're saying pause.
For a very short, like you said, a year, and we have to see what they're gonna do, You said with all the advertising and with all the social media and everything, I mean, and then the finger pointing, and then there's no one here to represent
Right,
for
Well,
us to ask questions of their confidence, of their,
I don't disagree, but yeah, okay. But you're in favor of pause. What about you, Mr. Carter? Are you in favor of pause or not?
No, I want to ask a question, though.
That's my question. You want pause or not? Because we got to sign this work or not?
Under the current contract language, the answer is no.
Right, but if it changed, would you,
It would have to meet the needs of our previous arrangements that historically has been with us with animal control. If it doesn't look like that, then this is a sinking ship. My secondary question, how many times did we use pause last year? Roughly. Oh, this year?
So this year, the last full year that I've seen, it was 108. That is the number of calls that they reported.
But Councilmember Carter, part of the problem is, as we all have gotten emails from, there is a particular lady that does try and audit their books, and they have failed to even provide their own numbers for any city. I mean, she's been trying to get numbers from them for actually a few years, and they still can't even provide numbers. So I'm not really sure that I actually trust what numbers are being provided.
But again, that's where the contract with the county is transparency, and they've very thoroughly
Yeah.
have a
Hmm.
data collection that they're doing.
Councilmember Cox,
Oh,
can you
wait,
speak
Mr.
to
Yoder?
to the mic?
You're,
Sorry.
Thank you.
I'm on wait and see. Things are,
are you for the staff coming up with a contract that you would vote yes for?
yes.
Okay. Mr. Yoder?
Yeah, unfortunately, being the one and only game in town, our hands are somewhat tied. I agree. I'm not happy. I would not vote for this current contract at all. I could not honestly. Of course, then again, I say that tongue in cheek because I'm sure all of a sudden my phone's going to start calling that, hey, I had a dog problem, a cat or whatever, and I got nobody to call but you. And I'm not going to go out there. So, yeah, I'm all for the staff to try, and I'll be honest, I'm not overly confident you can do any better, but again, at least we can say we tried. And by the way, I've had this discussion with 3 county commissioners and several other cities in Okaloosa County, so we're not the
Absolutely,
Lone
we're
Ranger
not,
on
we're
that.
not solo.
But,
No, we're not.
but no, but as I said before to Jared, hey, I don't want to spend $10,000 for a 10-cent solution. Okay, so don't waste thousands of dollars. If it's not going well, fine, thank you very much. Come back in here, tell us,
Yeah.
and it'll make life easier. But I don't want to waste thousands of dollars of staff time that is something that can't happen.
So you want it more like the county? If we could get a contract, I mean, they signed it with the county. So if we could get something similar to that,
We don't need as thorough in a lot of things, some things, that they had, but yeah, I mean, you reading that, there's, they have access for citizens,
Right.
for records, they have access for,
Said sunshine stuff.
timelines, and, it's quite, their audits and it's there. But, and again, the county, obviously, they only did a 1-year contract,
right.
so.
Well, they're
they did-
talking to, like, the attorney's saying they
Possibly, yeah.
make their own.
That's,
I've talked to several of the commissioners and they said, yeah, we need to take this in-house.
that's been for years. I
Because
mean,
most counties
that's
have
been
it
for years.
in-house.
Yeah.
They do not have a company that provides it. So you're in agreement that
Not this
we
contract.
need, no, not the contract. We need animal control.
Yes.
Okay, does anybody not want animal control? Okay, and then you guys would like the staff to discuss and come up with a contract as close or similar to the county with a lot of,
Provisions.
provisions like the county has. Is that reasonable?
Yeah.
I mean, give it a shot.
Yeah, so I mean,
What do you think?
I know Jared's spoken with, Paul's representatives in the past. He can just reach out. We can, and we can just bring back, hey, this is the best they're willing to do. Here's our problems with
Right.
it if we have problems.
That'd be good.
Right.
And then you can say thumbs up, thumbs down,
Right.
or go back to the drawing board. But as we said, it's been one that's been in the paper or news and it's a very,
Okay.
very tough subject for many people. I mean,
And,
I
and
dealt
the
with it
county
when I
is the
was-
only one that has re-signed a contract with them, correct? Only the county, so none of the other municipalities to date,
That is my understanding unless something's happened in the last week that I'm unaware of.
right? Because for Walton's lapsed or was
Yeah.
coming to
I
lapse,
think so. I mean,
Destin.
most of them had,
does their own thing.
that they didn't, the numbers didn't work, so they wanted an increase, but that would require either an amendment or a new contract. So if those weren't signed, then
Right,
a lot of it was, they were requiring an increase, and many jurisdictions were not ready to do that, or we wanted other things. And so, yeah.
So we're not alone.
No, not alone.
Okay. Jim, Madge, you okay with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
thank you.
thank you.
Good luck.
Good.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, hey, it's a start, okay? 11.4. Mary Esther Boulevard Landscaping Project Update.
Oh, here he comes.
How much money do you want now?
Good morning, or good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I'm Sean Lindsay, Director of Public Works. I think you've met me before. I do have, as you can see, Charlie Johnson with Kimley Horn here to answer any questions. I'd like to first start out with just a quick summary. So Kimley Horn presented a few council meetings back and got, with about 60% plans done, got feedback from the council. They went and changed it according to that feedback, and also to keep in mind maintenance issues. Then 90% was completed, and those were sent to FDOT to review. And FDOT came back with several suggestions, which you have in your packet. Charlie and his team corrected those, mainly improved safety conditions, improved ease of maintenance conditions, were some of the major items. There were some others that they had in there as well. Then the plans were completed to 100%, and they're now ready to bid out. So we wanted to give council a look at what it would look like in its finished state. You have the plans, but a lot of people, including myself, sometimes have a hard time understanding the plans and what it really looked like in real life. So they did generate some AI documents that you find in your packet that are similar, not exact, particularly with the curb detail and with all the foliage and the flower details are not exactly what we have. But it gives you a rough idea of what the landscape would look like. There is a price that we got for $7,500 to do an artist rendering that could probably be used to showcase what we're getting ready to do and to give a better idea of what we're looking at. Staff recommends approval, move on to the bidding document and to approve the $7,500 to get the artistic rendering of a section of the boulevard so that we'd have something to present and show the public, and also have that would demonstrate what the plans really look like in real life. Charlie's here to answer any questions and may be able to fill in some blanks. I didn't cover everything. That was just a real quick synopsis of where we're at right now. We're at 100% plans approved by FDOT, ready to move forward to bid. Oh, on a secondary note, I did get a price quote on maintaining the plans once they're implemented, which we won't have to do for a year. So let's say we go out for bid this month, it's awarded sometime in November, December. They start work, they complete it maybe in 6 months. And then from the point that they complete it, they have to maintain everything for 1 year. After that 1 year, it goes on to us to maintain forever. So I took the plans and the specifications for maintenance that Charlie put in there, detailing what needs to be done, and got a private company to price that out, and for everything, including just mowing and blowing and the fertilizing, the pre-emergence, the pruning that has to be done on a regular basis, replacing plants and such. That was at $31,000 a year. So I thought that was a pretty good number, actually, to maintain it. We'd have the year to look at whether or not we want to do that. We discuss maybe next year's budget.
Okay. Do you have any questions? I have one. Oh, go ahead.
The artist rendition of what it's going to look like, the $7,500. How much value will those drawings add to the discussion?
I'd like to let Charlie answer that because I'm not familiar with it, and I know that they do that, so he can add some comments there.
Before
Charlie?
you do, real quick, the one thing I would add too is I would almost say if we want to go that route, let's get the drawing and look at it. That way, if there's something that we feel like needs to be changed, then we can do that. I think there's kind of a couple purposes for it. One is that, so we know what we're getting. And then the second being like Sean mentioned, it's a great way to kind of promote the project. The final thing I would say is originally we were paying for half of this construction, and the state did agree to pay for all of the construction. So I think that saved about $300,000.
Yes, about
So a
$300,000.
significant amount.
We don't have a match on this project.
My question is about money. That's 7,500. Is that going to increase our deficit?
You had to ask that question because I was thinking of timing. We were in the old budget where we had funds available. So the answer to that is funds have carried over, so should not increase it any more than what we already had.
It's not going to increase our deficit.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
So I can jump in here. I think the question was, and can all of you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right, good evening. Basically, to that question of what's the benefit of the rendering, as Sean mentioned, it helps give a visualization. But I would say before we do that, we could send you some examples of what we've done elsewhere so that you could see it and get a feel for if you think that's worth it. Because all we've done right now is given somewhat of a pricing for what that would be. But I'm just like you. I want to see what I'm gonna get before I pay for it. And so we'd be glad to send you some example renderings of other projects we've done. And then it would give you something to react to if you feel that that would be worthy. Again, these plans are at the 100% level. So, if the plan is to move forward, I don't know that it changes your decision on what these plans are going to be constructed. But you always have to remember we're giving you the pretty picture for what it's going to mature to be. Landscape's not like concrete or asphalt where once it goes in, it stays the same. Those plants, when you see them planted on day one, are not going to look anything like they're going to be in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years as they mature, specifically the trees. But what we show to you is the built product after it's matured and grown in. I just want to make that clear. It's kind of like when somebody draws a stormwater pond and they make it look like blue water. You're not really getting what you're going to see, So we want to try to make it as realistic as it's going to look out there. Those AI generated drawings are, we can all see that, and they're somewhat strange, right? But they get the idea across to you. We hesitate on showing. Let's say we've all been on Google Maps and you can drop on the street view and see other projects. I'm always hesitant to do that because I don't want to show you something that you may latch onto and say, oh, well, that's exactly what it's going to be like. But with those 3D realistic renderings, we can get it pretty close. It would be, if we've got this plant in this part of the median, that's exactly what would show up in that image. I don't know if that helps explain it a bit more.
Oh, that does, yeah. Yeah, I'd like to see some other examples as well.
Definitely.
Samples.
Well,
The guy presenting it recommended.
I'd like to samples, yeah, I'd like to see those and give an idea that, and understand things change, flowers, colors. I mean, yeah, it's not a snapshot forever, but yeah, I would like to see them. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Nick, let's just move that off until we get the pictures. Is that okay, Sean?
Yes, sir.
All right,
Thank you.
so 11.4 is delayed. Okay, 11.5 is Azalea Park project update.
I'm Sean Lindsay, Director of Public Works. Sorry, I have to say that.
You're doing good.
Helps. Quick background, at council's direction, staff is proceeding with Azalea Park improvements, including installation of an ADA compliant bonded rubber trail. Major components such as the pavilion, 2 pedestrian bridges, initial trail grading have been completed. The previously installed bonded rubber material did not meet quality standards and is being repurposed for use as fall protection at other city parks. Staffing is working with CPH to finalize the trail design and bid documents. Once CPH completes its work, estimated completion is about 1 month. The bonded rubber trail will be advertised for bids with an alternative provided for crushed gravel trail. Plantings and landscaping will be completed at by city staff this fall and early spring. Fencing will be contracted separately by staff. Pavers for the pavilion and fire pit have already been bid out and will be completed after the design is received from CPH. They've been asked to kind of show us the paver layout and where we would put it at. Financial impact, the project remains within the approved budget of $300,000 with $179,656 currently available. Remaining funds will be used to cover the cost of the trail, additional plantings and fencing. The recommendation I have is this item is presented for council update only. No action is required at this time. After bids are revised, council will have the opportunity to review the results and may choose to select a gravel trail at a cost-saving alternative or allocate additional funds to enhance landscaping. And I did attach a few photos in your packet that you can see of where we are right now.
Thank you. Any questions?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
when do we realistically foresee this being done?
So it would take about 30 days to get the plans to be ready for bid. Then they would be bid out for about a month. We'd receive bids, and then the contractor would hopefully start. The actual work for the trail would probably take, I'm imagining, less than 2 weeks, but it may not be able to start exactly as soon as the bid's awarded. So that's the unknown part. I would imagine it'd be within 6 months. I think that the pavers can be done in the next 2 weeks. I think you'll have that fairly quickly. So that should be the next thing.
The other thing, the fencing around the perimeter. So would that also be, because right now, part of the problem is overgrowth of the landscape going into the neighbors' fencing, and the weeds get entangled into their fencing. So is there something that will be done to prevent that going forward?
So that's something that's the architect will be looking at. We recently went out there just last week and cleared the fences off, except for a small portion. It might take us another hour to complete. We usually do special projects on Thursdays, and so when it rains or does something else, we jump on. Like today, we did a lot of special projects that we normally don't do because we couldn't cut grass. But yeah, we're making leads, and we'll continue to do that. As a new fence is put up, we don't know the extent of that fence. Like, is it just going to fence out the part where the dogs are at, or it will be the whole circumference? If it is, and if it's right next to the fence, we're not going to be able to really maintain the neighbor's fences. We'll be able to maintain our fence, but we won't have room between the two probably to do much. But when I talked with the landscape architect, he was leaning more toward a combination of fencing and plantings to beautify the area, and he hasn't done that yet, so I don't know. But I'm very confident it looked nice. He had lots of ideas.
Mr. Carter?
Technically, the park is not open, correct?
Yes, it's open. People are still walking in it. There's no amenities in the park that are open, like the pavilion doesn't have any tables on it. There's a rough trailer walk, and people do walk on it.
Yeah, I went out and walked, and there was several uneven surfaces. I was concerned about someone tripping and falling.
Yes, it's not to grade yet all the way. It's been rough graded, which saved the city probably about 75,000, but it's not been final graded yet.
Should we advise citizens that they're at their own risk?
Yes, I think that might be a good idea for some signs and stuff. Yeah.
So probably got a good point.
Yeah, that's probably a good point. I didn't think about that. It is better than it was because people walked the park before we did anything, and it was really bad.
Yeah.
And so now it's not a lot nicer than it was.
Park closed, walk at your own risk, or.
Yeah.
I mean, the verbiage is your choice. I just noticed
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
it was
excuse our mess, you know.
under
yeah,
construction or
Under
something.
construction.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I'm sorry I haven't thought of it.
No problem.
Can't think of everything. We need you.
You said the crushed gravel was an option or not?
So we
Really
know,
hard to walk on.
yeah, we know that a full landscaping might cost a lot of money, like $60,000. And if we fully fence the whole area, it's going to cost, depending on what type of fence, between $25,000 and $45,000. And so if we do bonded rubber, it's probably going to be like in the neighborhood of like 120,000. We don't know till we bid it out and what comes back, but there will be a chance to make that decision. If you want to do that, we're just giving you the option. We looked at different types of stone material. Finer stone material might be the best suited one that we saw and other people use. So we were just going to bid that to give you that option. So if you want to spend more on fencing and landscaping, you could, or if you want to go forward with the bonded rubber trail, you could.
I'm just saying the crushed gravel is a hard walk, walking on today.
Bigger crushed gravel is a hard walk. A finer crushed gravel is a little easier, but it's more maintenance than bonded rubber, which is very little maintenance other than blowing it off and occasionally having to cut it and remove a root or something that might be in the way and then put it back.
The other problem I have with the crushed gravel is there are a number of elderly that walk out there with assisted devices, and it would be difficult for them.
Yeah, crushed gravel is not going to be ADA accessible.
No.
Is the rubber?
Yes.
Okay.
Or even pavers would be better than,
Concrete.
than that crushed gravel.
Okay.
Yeah, can we get
Anything
a small
else, or
truck?
just an update? Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. O, you have something?
Oh, it's not for you, though.
Oh.
I'm not sure how many of you saw it, but Pensacola got dodged or dozed from the state. One of their biggest write-ups was Pensacola used to have the billboard / statue thing about Pensacola Beach and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And wore out and they tore it down. They put another one up. That was the biggest write-up out from the state. They thought that was a waste, fraud, and abuse to put that device. I personally could not disagree with them more. That's Pensacola Beach. That's an advertisement. That's like saying, take out the Statue of Liberty. No, that's who they are. It helps identify them. So we always have to be careful though, because somebody else could come in here from Tallahassee and say, oh, you shouldn't use that gravel. You should use cheaper, but
This is,
personally, I'm all for it, where we're going. I think we're doing it. I just want everyone to remember though that
People are watching.
people are
Right,
watching.
but also the
Absolutely.
ADA are watching, and so it's, yeah,
this is an enhancement for this is an enhancement for the community, it's not an advertisement. It's something,
Yeah.
But I
Parks
do
and
think,
Recreation.
and maybe Hayward can comment on this, I do think some signage, I mean, just, inexpensive signage saying, please enter park at your own risk would help. That way citizens do know that, it is a
Yeah, uneven
construction
walkway.
zone, uneven walkway, just for their own safety and for us legally.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't hurt. I mean, it's not gonna prevent anybody from trying to sue the city, but at least you've got something to.
It would be better than to not have the sign.
Oh, 100%. I agree wholeheartedly. Some signage of some sort to, watch your step, uneven, ground and things like that.
As Mayor Pro Tem Odor just said, we do have to be mindful of Doge, so transparency is paramount at this point in our city, that we're
Well,
just transparent with everything.
There's that, and especially since you know about it now, to be forward thinking and to try to warn the general public so they can
Yep,
take
sure.
measures or decide not to visit the park right now.
Yeah. Walk at your own risk. Yeah.
Thank you,
Okay.
Sean.
All right. We good? 11.6, Resolution 25-14, fiscal year 2026, Library Interlocal Agreement.
Mayor and council, this is the agreement that we consider annually to receive the support from the Library Coalition. And so the amount for this next fiscal year is $65,694.
I have a question.
Good.
What is that amount based on with the county?
Population?
They have a formula that they use. It's got a number of variables.
Okay,
I would-
did they compare our library and the sheer volume of people that use it compared to the usage of other libraries that they disperse funds to? Because our library is heavily used, and not just by our citizens, but by county and visitors alike.
There are a number of variables that they use, including things like circulation. I don't have all those for you tonight.
Okay, thank you.
I would like to jump in for a second as well and say that there is a correction. The amount is not 65,694, it is 65,282. I was told after the packet had went out.
Can we get that extra $400?
Okey doke. Anything else? Okay, do I have a motion?
Mayor?
Oh, he's gotta read the.
Oh, okay. We good? Mr. Odie, you want to say something? Okay.
Resolution.
Okay, I'm going to read it. Here we go. Do I have a motion to adopt?
Mayor.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Resolution.
Well, read it.
Resolution number 25-14, a resolution of the City of Mary Esther, Florida, authorizing the city to enter an interlocal agreement with the Okaloosa County Public Library Cooperative for financial year 2026.
Thank you. Can I read it next time?
You want to?
Yeah, well, I'm thinking, I won't forget you all the time.
I
I'll
got
have to read
I
it.
got plenty on here if you'd like to
I
take
know.
some.
Do I have a motion to adopt Resolution 25-14, approving the fiscal year 2026 Okaloosa County Public Library Co-op interlocal agreement?
I'll make that motion.
Got a first by Mr. Odor.
I'll second.
Second, Mr. Lawson. Okay. Let's go ahead and vote.
Mm-hmm.
And it's unanimous. Thank you. 11.7, Resolution 25-15, State Route Maintenance Contract with Weber Infrastructure Management.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Sean Lindsay, Director of Public Works. In your packet, you'll see a lot of information on this. The background, council, staff had worked to identify solutions to improve maintenance of Highway 98 medians and right-of-ways within the city of Mary Esther. The goal is to enhance the quality, appearance, and safety of this central corridor by allowing city to manage key maintenance activities directly. The proposed agreement with Weber Infrastructure Incorporated would authorize the city to assume responsibility for mowing, sweeping, litter pickup, and tree trimming along Highway 98 as detailed in the attached contract. Also, you'll see the agreement and you'll see the attachment to it, which kind of outlines what we have to do and how much we're paid for each part. Let me forward ahead. That amount's in your packet. It's 39,678.91. If you move forward, I do plan on trying to renegotiate that each year. This amount is probably, I think, 10,000, I believe, more than what we've received before when we did the maintenance. And I think when we did the maintenance, it was much nicer than it is now. I did want to mention that I have, I started about when I first got here 2 years ago trying to get inmate labor, and I'm still trying. I'm still being denied. But they did say that come ask again in March for like having them one Friday a month to mainly do the litter pickup along that corridor, the weeding, and the pruning back on the sidewalks, the hand pruning and things like that. So that would be nice if that's provided. And if we do accept this tonight, I probably will make a special request for a 1 day or 2 day cleanup to start it off to help with bring the inmates out. This would be a supervised inmate crew, not under city's direction. So they would have their bus that they bring around and help different areas out to help with that if we get that approved, and it's not been approved right now. Recommendation is motion to adopt resolution 2515 approving the master service agreement with Weber Infrastructure Management Incorporated. Hayward, I know, has looked over this and helped negotiate this contract where it is now, and I can answer any questions that you have.
Questions? Okay, want to read the resolution?
Are you sure you don't want to?
No, you got it.
Okay. Resolution number 25-15, a resolution of the City of Mary Esther, Florida, authorizing the city to enter an agreement with Weber Infrastructure Management Incorporated for state route maintenance.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to adopt resolution 25-15 approving the master service agreement with Weber Infrastructure Management Incorporated?
I'll make that motion.
Ms. Coxwell's first.
Second.
Second, Mr. Carter. Let's go ahead and vote. We are unanimous. Thank you. 11.8, resolution 25-16 SRF loan agreement DW 460211, amendment 4.
Heather Day, Finance Director. This final amendment finalizes the SRF water loan for the Springdale Park neighborhood. The total loan amount is $1,987,098.17 with a 20-year term and annual payments of $102,232 payable in semi-annual installments. And the first one is going to begin on November 15th. Staff is seeking approval of Resolution 25-16, approving Amendment 4 to SRF Loan Agreement DW 460211.
Okay, discussion? Okay, Ms., you want to read the resolution? You got a lot of them tonight.
Resolution 25-16, a resolution of the City of Mary Esther, Florida, authorizing the city to enter into a contract with the State of Florida Department of Environmental Protection for Amendment 4 to the loan agreement DW 460211.
Thank you. This time, do I have a motion to adopt resolution 25-16, approving amendment 4 to SRF loan agreement DW 460211?
I'll make that motion.
First, Ms. Sutton.
I'll second.
Second, Ms. Coxwell. Okay, let's go ahead and vote. Yeah, we're unanimous. Great, thank you. 11.9, a resolution 25-17, approval of Florida DEP Standard Grant Agreement number Lima 0259, Mary Esther, Okaloosa County wastewater connection. You want to speak to that?
Yes, Mayor and Council, briefly, during the last legislative session, we were awarded a $1 million grant for the design and engineering of the wastewater line from the City of Mary Esther to the Okaloosa County plant. There isn't a match required for this. However, the total cost of the engineering is estimated between 2.6 and 3 million. And so we are looking at other grants to help with that. There's one federal grant that's in existence today that would certainly help, that we have already started working on. The other piece of it is of course, if Hurlburt Field participates in this, that will cover part of the cost as well. So I just want to make sure that that was clear, was that no, there isn't a match requirement, but obviously we've got to get the rest of this funded. And so with that being said, we are hopeful that by the end of this year that we will receive some direction from Hurlburt Field.
I was going to ask that. Does Holbrook Field know we got $1 million that they need to cough some up to?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Discussion?
Do we have plans or a backup if Herbert Field is delayed or just says no?
Delayed, I don't think will be a huge issue with this grant. Now, if they elect not to participate, I think we need to have probably a workshop to have that discussion as to the path forward.
That's going to change everything, right?
It would have a significant impact, yes.
More discussion? You want to read the resolution?
Resolution number 25-17, a resolution of the City of Mary Esther, Florida, authorizing the city to enter a grant agreement with the Florida Department of Environmental Protection for the Mary Esther Okaloosa County Wastewater Connection Project, agreement number L0259 in the amount of $1 million.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to adopt Resolution 25-17, approving Florida DEP Standard Grant Agreement Number Lima 0259 for the Mary Esther Okaloosa County Wastewater Connection Project, accept $1 million in state grant funding, authorize the mayor to execute the agreement, and authorize the city manager or designee to submit all required reports and related documents.
I'll make the motion.
But first, Mr. Lawson,
I'll second.
a second, Ms. Coxwell. Let's go ahead and vote. And we're unanimous. Thank you. 11.10, Resolution 25-18, Fiscal Year 2026 Law Enforcement Services Agreement.
Mayor and Council, you have a copy of the proposed contract for fiscal year 2026. The actual contract itself, there have not been any significant changes other than the amount. And so that, we're happy to answer any questions. Captain Lewis is here as well, and so if you have questions specific to the Sheriff's Department, I'm sure he'd be willing to help as well.
Go.
Go ahead, Ms.
Yes. I know, everybody's looking at me. So Article 4 on the contract, right of control. It seems like we don't actually have right of control. I would actually prefer that you have a discussion with, because Captain Reese, I mean, he's done a great job in our city for us, but at the same time, he's answering to someone above him. So he is not able to make changes to this contract. Am I correct?
Go ahead. Yeah, you're the hot spot to now.
Chad Rose, Sheriff's Office. So your question is, do I have the ability to make changes to the contract? I'm obviously part of the negotiation progress. I'll be a liaison between, take it back to my sheriff and his command staff, and we can look at it.
So right of control on Article 4.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, so far we've not had any, like, the sticking point for me, once again, and I've mentioned this on numerous occasions, is I'm not necessarily asking you guys to have a quota or to pull over anyone any more than you already do.
Sure.
What I am asking is, like in Gulf Breeze, when I come over that bridge, I know to slow down or I'm going to get a ticket. I've now learned not to run the red light because I have gotten that ticket.
That's good.
You know, so what I'm asking is, instead of maybe there being 80% warnings, it starts to lean the other way. So, you know, and I don't care about the rest of the county. All I'm concerned about is the citizens of this city and what this. So I'm asking that under right of control that we actually, that you, instead of so many warnings, we start turning that needle to actually write the ticket. As y'all have been in the news recently, for even stopping people doing 100 miles an hour, and thank you for arresting that individual. But people are not slowing down. I mean, we see it every day. I mean, I'm sure as you see it, I mean, we all travel the roads, we all drive around here. It's a danger. I mean, I'm sure Chief Beige responds to a lot of calls that are related to wrecks due to high speeds. And high speed doesn't have to be 100 miles an hour. It can be 50 and a 35 because they're not paying attention. So I would like to see under that right of control part that we actually start seeing a little bit more actual tickets versus just warnings.
Okay, so I always like to caveat and say that burglaries, batteries, property crimes, that's the kind of thing, affect a very small minutia part of the population, right? Traffic affects everybody. Everybody drives, everybody's affected by traffic. It's the number one complaint I get every day, all day. And like you said, you don't care about the other parts of the county. Unfortunately, I do. I have to look at everything. So I have to allocate resources where it is. When you talk about control, it's an interesting, I guess, word. You don't actually have control over the deputies any more than I have control of the deputies. I can't mandate that they write tickets. That's not how we do it. They have ultimate discretion. I do want to make one clarifying point, and I think maybe it's perspective. When you drive down the road and you see a cop car with lights on and the car pulled over, you don't know if they're getting a ticket or not, right? You just assume that they're getting a ticket, or you assume that they're not based on your presumptions. Traffic control is one of those things that we do stress education versus citation. It is something the sheriff does stress heavily. I think you're looking at it from a singular focus, and that if you get pulled over and you get a warning, and then you get pulled over again and you get a warning, and then you get pulled over again and you get a warning, you're going to continue to speed, right? Because you're not getting any ramifications for your actions. You're just keep getting your warnings. Keep in mind, most people do not get pulled over more than once. The vast majority of the traveling public gets pulled over once, maybe twice. I mean, I don't know if without a show of hands in the room, how many people in this room have been pulled over by the police. It's probably very low, hopefully. Okay. My point in that is saying is we have a mechanism in place. If I pull you over and I give you a ticket or I give you a warning, it goes into the computer and we can pull up your driver's history. If I pulled you over or somebody else has pulled you over, and we have some universal language that we have in the cop world, right? So if in the old days when you have a registration and your phone number is written on there, that means the cop's been out with you and you've had okay, there's a lot of things we do that are coded messages to other cops if you ever get pulled over, if it's not the computer, right? So that way, if I pull over somebody from Kentucky and they give me their registration and there's a phone number written on it, 9 times out of 10, they've been pulled over before, right? So now we can inquire that, talk to them a little bit more. Just a funny little anecdote for you. That being said, we do put notes in the computer. We put what they were doing. Miss Sutton was given a warning for going 100 in a 25. That whatever that note is, right? Or there's other things we put on there. Again, this is just for your edification. There's things if you get a I don't know, say it's a 25-mile-an-hour zone, you get a 9-mile-an-hour over ticket. That is universal cop language where you got to brake, right? So we give warnings in that respect. I say all that to say that when we look at the driver, the individual operator of the vehicle, we look at that particular person, not the population, right? So we'll go and look at it. If you've never been pulled over in your entire life, I'm not going to advocate for you to get a ticket just because you made a mistake that one day. If it's egregious and you're going 50 over, it's a different conversation, right? But it depends on what that level is. I understand you. I hear you. I can definitely advocate for my guys to do more traffic stops in general, right? Because when people see blue lights, they slow down. When we have our patrols that are moving around, people slow down. And whether or not we give tickets or not, again, I'm not going to commit to writing more tickets. I can commit to more traffic control. That's an easy one. I can get out there and fly the flag more, do more traffic stops. Because ultimately, when you're driving through Gulf Breeze and you see all those lights, you don't know if those people are getting tickets or not. You just know they're getting pulled over, right? Same concept. Shalimar for years was the same way. If you drove through Shalimar, you got pulled over.
Yep.
They had a zero tolerance. They just wrote tickets for everything. That was just how they did things, right? Different between working for a city and working for an elected official in the sheriff's office. Again, it's just different. Traffic is not a primary concern because we have so many other things to do. But to your point, I can definitely advocate for more traffic for sure.
I mean, I'm a person who's had, a number of speeding tickets in my lifetime. not in this county, but a number of speeding tickets. I mean,
So you obviously have a very personal, you have a personal perspective.
but when I drive across the state, there are counties that I go in that I know I'm not going to speed because I know where those deputies sit, and I know if I'm going even 5 miles over, they are going to pull me. It's here, I serve on transportation boards, not only just regionally, but also for the state. And part of the thing is that we are all focusing on to help you as well is a safer streets for all.
Sure.
For our pedestrians, our vehicles, our bicyclists, our walkers. I mean, we do have a number of people that walk in this city. Several on this council that walk on this city. I never want you guys to have to respond to a call because we've got a kid splattered on 98. That's my ultimate fear.
Sure.
And at this point with the speeds, it's not a matter of if it will happen, but more of when. I was witness to the motorcycle accident on 98 a little over a year ago, where that guy died. I watched him speed down Mary Esther Boulevard. I knew something was going to happen. So when he killed himself, he was going at high rate of speed.
Right.
We have to do something to make, the whole point is to make our community safer. Yes, I do believe in education, but frankly, it's not working. So maybe this is a broader conversation that we need to have with Sheriff Hayden. I'm not saying he needs to have a hard line in the sand, but there has to be some room for negotiation or compromise. And I'm not saying it's an all or nothing, but I'm just saying, can you meet us a little bit?
Absolutely, and that's what I'm saying. My job is to work with the council to meet the needs of the city, right? That's what we're here for. So I have no problem advocating for more traffic enforcement. What we're not going to do is codify something in a contract to say we have to write more tickets. That's not something that we're going to do.
No, I'm not
we
asking for
ultimately-
that.
I'm just saying, we ultimately give our deputies that discretion. Now, if I see a deputy who does no traffic stops, we get on them to do 2 more, right? We encourage them to do more traffic stops because there's so many benefits to it. If they do a lot of traffic stops, and quite honestly, if they write too many tickets, that's something we look at as well. We have to factor in so much into our decision making. We make a lot of decisions in a day. The tickets, I don't know if you guys have paid attention, tickets are expensive.
Yes.
I mean, just to get a minimum ticket, it's a few $100s.
Yes.
And it can be somewhat cyclic. And when we look at a car and evaluate, does a person have the money to pay for a ticket? I know that's maybe judgmental on our part, but we take that in consideration when we're talking to people and their financial status, because if I hit a 20-something-year-old mom who has 3 kids in the car and I hit her with a multiple $100 ticket, she may or may not have the ability to pay that citation, but guess what? She still has to drive. So when she doesn't pay the citation and her license is suspended, and she's obviously showing a propensity for speed, she's probably going to meet us again. It's a cycle. We really, really stress education as much. Now, that being said, I have pulled over many people, and in the first 30 seconds of conversation of this person is getting a ticket because they're not getting it. All right.
Oh, I'm
So-
one of those.
So my point is I am willing to work with you and meet you halfway, as you put it, and advocate for more traffic from our guys in the city for sure. That's not a problem. I just don't want an expectation that we're going to write more tickets.
Right, but I mean, as you know, we're in a $300,000 deficit.
Sure.
And we are also we're obviously moving forward with the speed cameras in the school zones. And it is my understanding that the sheriff's department will not be our liaison for that. And so we're looking to have to pay someone outside of the sheriff's department to do that. So now I have to explain to citizens, oh, well, yeah, we are paying for enhanced services, but yeah, they don't actually, you know what I'm saying? The perception is there is no enhancement.
Okay.
So if I'm having to contract other services, what's the benefit of the 300K is what I'm getting at.
Is that a conversation you want to have now, or do you want to?
Seriously, what she's talking about, that just was brought up recently by the city manager. Why doesn't the sheriff want to sign off on those cameras? Do you have an answer, or are you just going to guess? Because I'm really.
I'm definitely not
wondering.
going to speak on behalf of the sheriff. He's
Right.
issued a
But he's the
police-
one who makes the decision.
Sure. He's the boss, right? He's the one who you guys elected to have that position. He's not come out and made any public statements on it. He would leave it to the municipalities to handle the cameras that they have everywhere. Every city's doing it. The cities are handling it. The sheriff's not involved in any of the programs.
But I thought it was a requirement that we have a sheriff, a police
So
entity.
it's come to light that there is, and I've read up on a little bit on the administrative rule and the statutes and whatnot. That may be something more for, able to discuss at some point, because I understand that there are municipalities throughout the state who are actually operating these programs without law enforcement.
Yeah, because there's a certain certification that individuals can
I-
get through and go.
I think the point is the certification's there, but, again, I'm not involved in the legislative part of it, the history of all of this. I'm kind of guessing what reading between the lines of some of these things and talking to some people. When they made and passed this law, it referenced a position of a traffic enforcement officer, I think is the term they use. All right, so they reference that's the officer who's going to do this. Now, if you go back through and look at other parts of the statutes and the administrative code, it defines what that is, and it clearly talks about in there is it has to work under the employment of a police
That's
officer,
what I'm
police
talking about.
station or a sheriff's office. So that's come up recently. I guess it's been highlighted. I don't know if it's been officially addressed as far as if it actually has to be or not. Again, that's for the lawyers to kind of figure out.
Okay, speaking of lawyers, what have you looked at that at all, Hayward?
Yeah, we have looked at that and I've discussed it, and there is language as indicated that for, and I'll just read from the ordinance or statute. For purposes of administering this section, the county or municipality may authorize a traffic infraction enforcement officer under 316-640. And then it goes on to identify what that is. And then it says, any sheriff's office or police department may employ any individual who successfully completes instruction in traffic enforcement procedures. The individual must complete this training through selective traffic enforcement program, step, approved. They don't have to meet the specific uniform minimum standards requirements that law enforcement normally does. So the issue, and it was brought up to us, was it appears to contemplate having some supervisory role from a law enforcement department, because this is law enforcement.
Right.
You know, you're enforcing laws, citations, issuing citations. So we've looked at it. I think I've heard the same thing, that there are municipalities that may be out there doing it without any supervision. And I mean, you know, that may be an option. I think, you know, kind of the belt suspenders idea for us is, if you're going to do this, having some sort of, you know, qualifying agency, so to speak, to ensure that we're following and not, you know, violating, I think is, you know, prudent. You know, can you go out there and do it? Yeah, but there's a risk with that, especially the way we interpret the statute, or we've looked at the statute. So, you know, we thought it would be a better model to have, you know, as I said earlier, some sort of qualifying agency. So that's why we approached the sheriff's office about that, to say, hey, we'll be doing the enforcement, but look at having you qualify us, making sure we're not doing anything out of bounds. And if we are, then tell us that and we'll make sure to get it fixed. So
I think for perspective, when they originally defined what this traffic infraction officer was, there are some law enforcement agencies that employ them. It's more, it's cheaper to have a civilian who will go to a traffic crash, for instance, and it's a civil type situation. Work that traffic crash, give a report, send people in their way, so that we free law enforcement up to do law enforcement functions. That was originally how it was applied. And then, of course, if a criminal infraction happened, they would call a law enforcement officer. We come over, write a ticket, arrest, as the case may be. We don't currently employ those in the sheriff's office here in Okaloosa County. I think Walton County may have a handful of them they use, but we don't currently use that model here. I think that when they drafted this new legislation for this new law passed, they simply adopted that language over, not really looking at the language to know how it correlated. Kind of hand-tied to a certain degree.
Is there any cities that have this camera in Okaloosa County? Without with the sheriff, none of them have them with the sheriff, right?
Correct.
So Destin wouldn't have one?
Destin does not currently have one. I don't believe that they are looking to pursue them based on talking with my counterpart in
Secret
there.
Bayou, Laurel Hill, the only ones that don't have.
No,
police
Shalimar has them.
They got a cop, they got a police department though.
They have their own. Niceville has them with their own police department. Crestview does not have them. Fort Walton has them. They probably have the most.
So in order for us to have these cameras without, I mean, you, like the city attorney's on, we'd have to have our own police department?
Not necessarily. There's other options. obviously the sheriff's office not participating in the program, so you could contract it to, say, Fort Long Beach Police Department as an option. I think the legalities are there set up to do that. You have as an option. If you wanted your own police department, if you wanted to contract with 41 PD, however the board decided to move forward, I'm here to help you out any way I possibly can, other than participate in the program.
Right, no, I just the idea of we're paying your salary, this 320,000,
But let's,
money from the tickets.
but Mayor, the thing that I want to convey is it gets brought up that you're paying our salary. You're paying our salary to do what we're doing currently, right? You guys are wanting to
Correct.
add things on to
Correct.
things that we're not really wanting to do. So while we're talking about you guys are paying our salary, and that is true, you are. One, we're not making a profit, right? So sheriff's office is not turning a profit from this. This is the cost of what a deputies do, what you need them to do. You're now looking at adding additional duties. Would theoretically, if we said yes, it'd be additional cost to it because now you're.
We understand that. Yeah, but,
So
yeah.
I just want to make sure we clarify that we talk about paying.
I'm saying throw it out for free. I'm just saying it's, you got us between a
Right.
rock and a hard spot. We were hoping that money we brought in
Sure.
would pay this 321,000 plus the additional cost
Sure.
of providing this service. Because if we go to Fort Walton Beach, we're gonna have to pay them. So that there's a cost involved.
But with that logic though, Mayor, if you're going to bring that money in to pay for that position, it doesn't matter if it's paid to the sheriff's office or paid to the city, as long as it's paying for that position. So
Right.
the money's still coming, it's still paying for the position regardless of who's doing it.
Right. Okay.
Sir, this cameras in the school zones,
Mhm.
I assume that's statewide.
Correct. This is statute, yes, sir.
And how old is this statute? How long has this practice been in place?
Just past, I don't exactly.
So it's
know.
recent.
Within the last year. It's been about the
So
last
there's
year.
there's no history of data to fall back on to say which way to go.
There may be, but I don't have access to it since we don't participate in it. You'd have to query those individual municipalities on their
Right.
data.
So there's been no challenges of any great concern in the court system as to the cameras and, because if we don't have a law enforcement supervision and a person fights that challenge citing because there was no law enforcement supervision involved, trying to get out of the ticket, I wish it was more, I was going to ask the city, maybe we could find some more research to see which way to go. And since we do have options of funding it, and hopefully the amount of money that would come in from the tickets, it would pay for itself in the short term, but in the long term, finding a way how to deal with that issue. One of the things about law enforcement, public safety, it's very, I know it's kind of a cheap way out, but it's a very complicated discussion.
Oh, very.
I agree with Councilman Sutton, that we want safer streets. But I also know that one of the most dangerous things a law enforcement officer can do is pull someone over, because some of the greatest fatalities take place at a routine traffic stop. So with that in mind, if the enforcement of traffic would go into a different optic to see how that works, because, when you're going 5 miles an hour, it's not a problem. But if you're going more than that and you hit something, your life can change very drastically. So I think this discussion really needs a further analysis that we make a more informed choice and decision how to move forward. These cameras in the school zones, I don't think any of us envisioned, even though we had the information, that this impediment would be before, as far as the role that law enforcement would play in having the cameras. I think our discussion would have been a little bit different if we would have known then. But I'm hoping that in the short term, the cameras can pay for the expertise that we need to be compliant with the law. But then again, the law, is there any hope, Hayward, of this law being changed? Is anyone else, to your knowledge, is facing this limit, taking different action?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if Jared's had any discussions with the legislative, delegates that represent this area. So the short answer is I don't know.
Counselor, the answer is no. And just to kind of rewind the tape a little bit here. So when this was first discussed, every single one of these companies that we spoke with did not think this was an issue. And it really just became an issue more recently. There are a number of cities that operate these without that supervision. However, I think as Hayward mentioned, the problem presents itself when somebody challenges. it. And so I think that's kind of a separate discussion from this law enforcement contract. Staff is certainly going to reach out to Fort Walton Beach and anyone else that we can to resolve that. And then we'll bring that back to council for further discussion.
But if we require it, this may do away with the camera ID altogether. If there's no law enforcement entity that would sign off, or we're just gonna have to assume the liability.
So you'd have to assume liability. That's one option. But again, I think this is kind of separate from sort of this law enforcement contract discussion. Staff will certainly reach out to Fort Walton Beach and have that discussion with them, and then go from there.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Two things. Sticking with what we really need to discuss. At 7.3 increase, and I've been here longer than anybody, it quickly becomes, I'm not sure we can sustain this. I mean, and I'm all for law enforcement. And I'd like as much support as possible. But my concern is if this keeps going up, I mean, that's higher than the inflation and everything else. And it happened before. You price us out of the opportunity. It comes down to, I can't afford this.
Right.
And I gladly tell citizens that when we did that, I say, hey, we can't afford this anymore. I would love to say we can, but unfortunately I haven't won the lottery yet, so I can't say I'll pay for this. The other thing, switching subjects, so that's, if you will take that back to the higher up that, I'm sitting here doing the numbers 5 years from now, if this keeps up, I don't think it'll take that long. Okay. And so everyone else knows, I've already talked to Jared about this before. Mostly that is a state-run road. Highway 98 is owned by the state, which Highway Florida Patrol, I suggested that we even contact them because that's their job. I mean, I drove down to Orlando and I must have passed, unfortunately, in Ocala when the 100 car accident, and that was a zoo, but there was highway patrols all over the place. So if that falls under their jurisdiction, it can't hurt to ask. What's the worst they're going to say? No? Okay,
Right.
well, we make a phone call. So yeah, him and I have already discussed this and stuff like that. So that's all I have.
Last year was 10% increase, right? And the year before that was 10%? Did I get those numbers right?
I think it was 11 and 9.
Yeah, ballpark.
In fiscal year 23, it was 252,000. Fiscal year 24, 274. Fiscal year 25, 299. This year, 321.
Yeah.
So we've had this discussion. I won't continue now, but the price has gone up. And that's why I said we have to find alternative funding streams to sustain that type of service. That's why I asked the city manager that we need that information to make an informed decision for next fiscal year. If the red cameras, or if those cameras will generate that $1 million we thought, then it's a moot point. But we don't have that history to make that decision. So we need as much data as possible, because when this year, I thought it was the best thing to do, to fund, even though it's a deficit, to give us time to think about how to best proceed, because the contract will not come in cheaper next year. I can guarantee it. I can look into the future. It will not cost us 200,000 next year.
Nothing will.
So the idea of how we're going to move forward, that's why the city has to be intentional in our revenue source, and whatever that means. And that's our weakest link. We have such few revenue streams, and those streams are now being questionable. So it's not so much your contract, it's anything that we do in the city. It's putting everything at peril, because we got to pay the must pays. We got to pay for the lights, we got to pay for the sewer, got to pay for the water. And public safety is very, very important. That's why I advocated the flock cameras. Those cameras don't take breaks. They don't go out sick. They serve a purpose. And even though they don't prevent crime, it does give the law enforcement community another tool to be able to catch the bad guy the next day. But I agree with you, Councilman Oder. It's not the law enforcement contract in particular. It's just that the cost of doing business has exceeded our ability to bring revenue. And we got to find a better way.
Say something to Mayor Pro Tem Oder. The Highway Patrol, you're right. Going down to, like, when we go to Orlando, highway patrol is all over, like, the Ocala, Orlando area. Here, for some reason in our region, they are not as prevalent for whatever reason, and that may be a bigger discussion that we all need to be going to Tallahassee to advocate for more in this region, because there are very limited resources here, unfortunately. I know that responding to fatal accidents for the sheriff's department is a problem. However, I will say that I have had personal luck with dealing with highway patrol and the regional, and they are open to doing what they can, but they are on very limited resources. You know, just like, I mean, all of us are working within our resources right now, which is why we're having this discussion. But whatever we can do to keep up our public safety, obviously, is very important to all of us. But yeah, I mean, it's coming down to money. I mean, at some point, you know, if it keeps going up, we're obviously going to have to raise, you know, taxes, and none of us want to see that. I mean, so there is concerns.
If I could, you actually kind of, excellent segue. Florida Highway Patrol is understaffed like everybody else is. You're right. If you drive near Tallahassee, near their headquarters, you will see troopers on top of troopers everywhere, right? The farther you get away from that epicenter, the less you see. I've been a cop here in Oklahoma County for over 23, 24 years. There have been many, many times that we have called for troopers to come to a guy, and they have one trooper for 3 counties. Right, he's in Pensacola, he'll be here when he gets here, kind of situation. And I'm not saying that to disparage them in any way. They have limited resources. That one trooper's working his tail off to try and drive the Defuniac, to drive to Pensacola, to drive to Fort Walton for accidents, right? So they're working on the same resources kind of that we are. And while the sheriff is not unsympathetic, he understands what cities are going through, right? He does. He understands the taxes and everything else. We're not completely tone deaf to that. But it's important that you guys understand, as a governing body, that the sheriff, again, is not making profit when he does this. And I say that because, yes, we've given some what some people consider to be large COLAs over the last few years, more than the cities that have been given out, or the counties been given out. It's crucial that we be able to do that, because otherwise we don't have deputies. And I don't say that to be grandiose or to make a giant statement for a fact. We are barely meeting recruiting requirements as it is. We are competing in a very interesting and unique market. We can't go and just hire a deputy off of the street. They have to go through the police academy, right, for, I think it's 8 months, 10 months, whatever it is nowadays. Then they have to go through a 14-week training program. There's a lot to manufacturing a deputy. They're giving signing bonuses left and right. If you go to my counterparts on either Walton County, Santa Rosa County, Escambia County, they're handing out $5,000, $10,000 signing bonuses to bring these kids in. We're now fighting with the federal government. They are putting out, if you've seen the advertisement on TVs, it's $50,000 signing bonus to come over there and for recruiting purposes and all the things, all the benefits they get them. It is a dog eat dog world out there where we're in milk bone underwear, I think it's Norm said from Cheers, right? So we understand the position that we're putting the municipalities in. We have contracts with Destin, with you, with the airport, with the school board, and these are common arguments that come up. We're pricing ourselves out for the opportunity. We understand that. We don't really have much of a choice, because if we drop that down and we go to a 2 or 3 or 4% or more manageable or palatable by the city that can afford it, then we end up losing deputies on the back end because our numbers fall off. And it's a cyclic thing. It's a vicious cycle. So the sheriff's doing his best to balance in between there. What do we do to bring people in and make ourselves attractive? Because now people can get a job in another agency before they even hit the door. So it is a struggle, and we understand. We're not unsympathetic. We understand at some particular point there's a breaking point in people's budgets. Again, we're open to conversation and have those at a certain point, but I'll take those back to the sheriff and make sure he understands. He can watch this back on replay and see the conviction in the voices of the council, and we appreciate it. It's not something we do lightly when we come to the contract. We don't just make numbers up willy-nilly, okay? I felt strongly enough to say that I need the board to understand.
Anything else? Okay, read the resolution.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Resolution number 25-18, a resolution of the City of Mary Esther, Florida, authorizing the city to enter into a contract with the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office for law enforcement services in the amount of $321,061.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to adopt Resolution 25-18, approving the fiscal year 2026 law enforcement service agreement with the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office for the amount not to exceed $321,061.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, first by Ms. Coxwell,
Second?
Mr. Carter. Let's go ahead and vote. Okay, it's unanimous. All right, let's move on to 1111 is consideration of scope for law enforcement study. Who wants to talk about that?
Yes, Mayor and Council, as you know, we did discuss previously putting together a report to kind of identify some of the issues that were important to the city. I had some council members that did send some questions, and so tried to put those together into one document. Hopefully you've had a time to take a look at these. If there's something that you feel like is not important, please let me know. We will pull it out. If there's something that's missing or that needs to be clarified, please let us know, because at the end of the day, the whole purpose of this is to try to essentially provide the council with information so that moving forward, especially with next year's contract, that we understand the services being received from the sheriff's department, as well as what it would look like without a sheriff's contract, and also what our crime looks like, whether or not we have a significant crime issue when it comes to property crime, when it comes to violent crime. And so please, if there are any questions about this, let me know. And like I said, if there's something you want changed, let me know.
Is there anything you want changed?
I do have a question.
Go ahead.
Didn't say when the report will be ready for our review.
That would depend on what is included in the report. As you can, and I shouldn't say that, it's not, there's a lot here. There's a lot here, and some of these things may be difficult to come up with, so we may not be able to cover all of this, but we will certainly do our best to provide as comprehensive a report as possible.
I would like to emphasize on the report, and maybe Captain Race can see if we can actually show like what areas are having like the, because it's one thing just to say that we've got, this many calls for crime or whatever. But I would like to see if there, because if there's a known area of concern, then maybe they can adjust theirs. I mean, so yes, I would like to see like specific areas that are highlighted. And with the same thing of like 98, like if they're pulling over people on 98 and that's their hotspot, then that's something we should reach out to Highway Patrol and be like, hey, can you assist our sheriff's department because they're on your turf pulling over people left and right? I mean,
I can certainly have that discussion with Captain Ruiz. I know that, different departments report their information differently. So there are some communities, for example, where you can pull data by street and block. I don't think we currently at least have that available publicly, but I can certainly have that conversation and see what we can produce.
I suggest this report is not a one and done. It's just too much information out there.
Quarterly.
We need something to go forward. I don't know if you've seen our draft and what we were asking for, but I think maybe a going for at least one workshop where we can have a targeted discussion with the experts from law enforcement and the city council, because there is a lot to be educated about with this type of a study, because a priority one call gets the same service regardless of day or time, basically the way that the sheriff's office triages. And my biggest concern with this whole idea is that personally, I feel my risk is greater at between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m., when I'm at my home, and that's the time we don't have coverage. But when you see when the city manager contacts you for this information, I think this is too important to do one and done. I think it's going to take an ongoing discussion of educating us, we educating the sheriff's office on our needs and concerns for public safety. I know we're not immune from crime. We've had some hideous things take place in Mary Esther, but we are a strange little community that our clientele or our citizens are upper 50s, and their values and the people are moving into Mary Esther, the values are different. I noticed that trend. So, but as the mayor, excuse me, as the city manager puts this data together, I want to be done from a 30,000-foot view as well as a 3,000-foot view, because it's going to drive the conversation. So I think having multiple workshops or multiple meetings to get the best bang for our buck, because we want public safety, but we may have to reshape how that public safety looks.
I came into the mic because I just want to make sure I chatted with the sheriff's office. I know you're going to staff him. We're going to get together. We're going to talk. I'm going to provide information. I kind of heard mumblings from the council quarterly. So we give a regular report now. Do you want more data in that report? Is that what you're going for? Or what kind of data I just
I'm
want to make sure
looking
we
for a
have that.
discussion of that data,
Okay.
Because
Like call analysis on what crime. I heard like a heat map we should be able to produce or where calls are occurring at. Are you wanting that as part of the regular report to know that? And I say this and this is just a completely, I don't want, it's getting late, but we have a new records management system in the sheriff's office, and there's been challenges, to say the least, to getting it on board. We are building kind of the car as we're driving it down the road is the best way of putting it. So while I'm somewhat limited in my capacities now, I anticipate having tenfold more capability to pull data at a fingertips notice, basically with heat maps and specific data on demographics and crimes and all that as we build it up forward. So just, I ask for a little bit of patience as I get through that. I think I may even be behind on a report to them now to get it up. We're having to pull the data through like Excel, through writing code and then putting it into a whole, it's a process. So 100%, we can definitely provide more data if this, you just identify what it is when you're talking to staff so that they know what to ask me for, so I can be clear on what you guys are asking for.
Right. I think that's what he's trying to say, is have a workshop
Sure.
so we can thoroughly discuss and have.
Sounds good. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to do.
I would say, something like quarterly, like to be able to analyze, where our trends, because, on a monthly basis, but
It's so close.
yeah, but on a quarterly, to
More than
really,
just a snapshot, maybe trends, like,
yeah.
vehicular crime is going up, or theft or down or things like that. So we can, as a council, can sit there and go, well, crime is going down or it's going up. We need, additional concentration in this area, things like that.
We're looking at the numbers now. Like, for instance, just as a general number, in 2020, you had roughly 10,000 calls and change for service in the city. Currently, to this year, you guys are on track to, I think, have like 5,000 or 6,000 calls for service. It's gone down 50% or so. And I have numbers. I'm working on a presentation that if we do a workshop to give to you guys to show you this. But I think if the mall closing has been a very big factor in that, not having that, all those stores there. But when it's whatever spins back up, that'll increase back in over time. So, but I don't think it's unreasonable.
I think it would help us also going forward in like even next year's budget season, because if we see that there are areas of concern and we've got growing numbers,
Sure.
it's going to help us to maybe reprioritize that. Okay, we do need to up our,
That's fair.
public safety funding, and we need to figure out how to fund that. Or, okay, well, it's going down, maybe we can reduce it because we're having to reduce a lot of stuff.
Sure.
It'll help us make better informed decisions on public safety.
Sounds good. I just want to make sure I clarified that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So-
Okay.
So we do have a soft date in mind?
1111, do we have a motion to approve the scope of the law enforcement study with the provided feedback?
Yes, with a date.
Okay, Mr. Carter's number one. Okay. Who's number two?
I'll second.
Okay, Ms. Sutton, number two. Go ahead and vote.
With a date.
We don't have a date on this one. All right, we're unanimous. Great. Moving on. 11.12, consideration of audiovisual proposal for Sweetwater integration.
Better microphones.
Sweetwater.
Yeah, so Mayor and Council, I sent out a request for quotes to 3 different vendors, and initially did not get any response. And so I did press back to the one vendor that we have worked with before, and they have provided a quote. This is a little different than what we typically request, because some of the equipment in this room is scheduled to be relocated to the new facility. There's certain equipment that we may have to replace. The mics may be one of them.
Please.
Please.
I was told that they think it's a programming issue, but nonetheless asked them for the cost to replace them. And so that is the reason why there is a request for 3,000 in contingency, just in case we need to replace the mics or something else. There may be something else that comes up.
The mics.
100%.
Okay, any discussion? All right, do we have a motion to approve the Sweetwater integration proposal for the City Hall, Council, Chambers, audiovisual system as detailed in Exhibit A with an additional $3,000 contingency for equipment replacement if needed?
I'll make that motion.
Ms. Lawson's number one.
I'll
Oh,
sec, I'll second.
Who? Okay, Ms. Sutton's number two. Go ahead and vote. Okay, we're unanimous. Thank you. 11.13, request for state appropriation Highway 98 water main replacement and upgrade.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Sean Lindsay, Director of Public Works. What you have in your agenda here is, as you're aware, we received a $3.5 million grant for replacing the water lines on 98, which are in really bad shape. That was only enough to do about half of them. And so we really need to do the other half. And so what we would like to propose is that you consider a state appropriation request for the other half. As a planning number, I'm using the number 4 million, and state legislators are asking for a 50% match, I understand. So that's a pretty good chunk of change, but it is a very needed project. So the current grant we have would do 98 water main replacements to Andalusia West, and this would be Andalusia East to city limits on both sides. So the plan level's at 4 million. We still need to define that a little bit more, the scope and of services and through our engineer, and prepare the documents to bring back to the November meeting. But at this point, we just need to know if we recommend a motion to select the Highway 98 water main replacement and upgrade as a city fiscal year 2026 local funding initiative project.
Okay, any discussion?
So this is in addition to the already approved budget.
So we will not be spending the money in this year's budget. There's a lot that has to happen before funding is spent on this project. Even with the legislatures, you have right-of-way that has to be acquired for this project, design and engineering. If the legislature appropriates the funds, it won't be available till I think July 1. So yeah, we wouldn't have a need to amend the next year's budget. This year, yes, this year now. We're in October.
Answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
All right. Anything else? Anybody else? Okay, do we have a motion to select the Highway 98 water main replacement and upgrade as the city's fiscal year 2026 local funding initiative project?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Ms. Coxwell's number one. And Bernie, you said your second?
Yep.
Okay, Mr. Oder's number two. Let's go ahead and vote. Okay, we're unanimous. Okay, now here's the 11.14. This is a lengthy one. It's going to take most of the night. Consideration of fiscal year 2026 city manager's salary, huge pay raise, adjustment. Would you like to start it out, city manager?
Mayor and Council, I provided the history of my contract, and in the budget, we budgeted the 5%, and so this is entirely up to the council. Just for folks in the audience, all of our staff are on a pay schedule, so they get a increase if they receive a positive valuation. They move on to the next step, as well as receive cost of living adjustments. Since my position is contract, there is no adjustment unless the council approves it.
Okay, discussion. We like the 5%? Okay, pretty much. Everybody's nodding? Okay,
No, he
all
wants
right.
to change to his contract.
Huh?
Oh, that's. no.
That's what he wanted.
Yeah, but no, the other,
And if I could, yeah, if I could address that briefly
Okay.
too. So there is I am requesting amendment in my contract that would allow me to basically teach a course, or to do some coaching, outside of work. My contract currently prohibits any outside work. So that would be an amendment. I will leave it to Hayward as to how that needs to be done. I wasn't going to draft the amendments myself. Typically, those go through the city attorney. But essentially, I am requesting at least the ability to do some of that, outside of the city of Mary
When
Esther.
you said coaching, you were talking athletics?
No, sir.
but none of this would be
No,
for other
sir.
cities. This would be,
Other people
Yeah.
might see it as mentoring. That might be a more
Okay,
accessible
you-
term.
You're not taking over Niceville's football
So,
team or anything?
no,
Okay,
I don't think
just
they
checking.
want, I don't think they would want me.
All right.
Question, do you feel like this would be an enhancement to the job performance that you currently do for our city?
Yes.
Okay.
And just to add on to that as well, I think most of you know, and certainly staff, that we've got a lot going on here. So I'm not talking about having a 20-hour-a-week commitment. It's more as, maybe an hour or two a week coaching some folks, or just the ability to be able to teach an online course.
Flexibility.
Correct.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Okay. All right.
that's at the Hayward. Did you need to say anything?
Hayward, say
No,
something.
I mean, I think if the numbers work and then you tell us to go ahead and prepare the language, I'll get with Jared, work out the specific language, and then we can circulate that, and that can be made as an amendment to his contract.
Okay,
Sounds good.
so do we need to vote tonight on the pay raise?
Yes.
Do you want to vote tonight on the pay raise?
Yes.
Okay, do I have a motion? Go ahead. You what?
Can I hire him to coach me for free?
And is it going to rain on Veterans Day? I thought you were going to bring that one up.
And
Okay,
does that 5% include Larry's poncho?
that's right. You got to buy him a poncho and show
Put it in
him,
writing.
mentor him how to use it. Okay, do I have a motion?
Yes, sir. Motion so stated.
What
I'll
is the
second.
motion?
Okay, we have a first.
The 5%.
Motion is to grant city manager a 5% salary increase. And I've got a
The city
first.
Attorney
Huh?
negotiate.
And the city attorney to make the
Okay.
amendment to Jared's contract.
You want a 5% too?
Thank you.
Okay.
For his language.
Right, right. And I'm not done with the motion, but I had a first and second, and the amendment to let the city attorney do the amendment for his extracurricular activities.
So motion to grant the city manager a 5% salary increase and the city attorney to negotiate the contract.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And then who was the
Okay.
first and second?
So first by Mr. Carter and a second by Ms. Sutton. Let's go ahead and vote. Okay, we are unanimous. Congratulations. Don't spend it all in one place.
And just an FYI, if you look at slide 321, there's a paragraph in there that almost precisely prescribes what it's going to be. So it shouldn't take Hayward very long to modify this.
Okay. Great.
Hayward, you can get 5% more.
And you want the
Yes,
five,
ponder.
okay.
Blame a man for trying.
11:15. Let's move on before Hayward asks for a pay raise. Adoption of 2026 regular council meeting calendar.
Yes, Mayor and Council, you should have in your packet the proposed 2026 regular city council meeting dates. Those dates are every first Monday of the month, with certain exceptions being January 20th, 2026, moved due to New Year's and Martin Luther King Jr. Day. September 8th, 2026, moved due to Labor Day, but that could also change later with the budget. And then December 8th, 2026, moved due to the Fort Walton Beach Christmas Parade.
Correct.
So
The
you are
parade.
welcome to approve it as is, approve it with any
And we can change it
adjustments.
anytime.
Yes, you can change
Okay.
it any.
I did have a question. One of them, I guess it was the April, was on Easter Monday. I'm not sure if that affects anybody.
Easter Monday?
Some people take.
The city does not
Oh,
observe it
oh.
as a holiday,
City doesn't,
but
just saying it may affect some on the council
Yeah.
or attorney,
Religious.
so I just wanted to make sure that people were aware that it was Easter Monday.
Do it on Tuesday then, I guess. I don't know.
Is that what y'all want to do?
Want to do it on Tuesday on that day?
I
Do
mean,
you
I'm
want
fine
to
on
leave it
Monday.
as?
I
I'm
just-
fine on Monday.
Tuesday? Huh?
I'm fine on Monday.
fine
I
on
just wanted to make
Monday.
sure it was okay with the staff.
If it becomes a problem, we'll change it down the road to
There
Easter
you go.
Tuesday, okay? All right. Do I have a motion? Anything else? Okay, do I have a motion to approve 2026 regular city council meeting dates as proposed?
I'll make that
I
motion.
have a first, Ms. Sutton.
I'll second.
Second, Ms. Coxwell. Let's go ahead and vote. And we're unanimous. Thank you. Councilman Stand Committee reports and other comments. Let's go ahead and start out with Ms. Sutton.
Yes, I'd like to thank Captain Ruiz for speaking tonight. It was very helpful. And also Jared, thank you very much for your continued service to our city. I believe all of us do greatly appreciate the hard work you put in, and I do look forward to you having another successful year with our city. And also thank you, Fire Chief. Yeah, maybe not play Candy Crush during the meeting, but But thank you for your services. Like I said, I did see that truck on fire today on Mary Esther Cutoff, and thank you for everybody's response for that and keeping, everyone safe. You're up.
I have nothing new.
Richard? Okay, Veterans Day Parade's going good. We got another meeting coming up this Tuesday. Still finalizing the Grand Marshal, so we're still working on that. And that's all I've got. Go ahead.
I want the poncho to be blue.
Poncho to be
That's
blue.
demanding.
Wow, somebody else. Yeah.
Yeah, at the insistence of the mayor, I attended in his stead the RUA meeting. Quite interesting. Asked Sean to, they're petitioning $25 million to do things with sewer, water, and all kinds of strange things. They're setting up a grant. I'm not know if we're a player or not, but I think it'd be something worth some of your time. So they're petitioning the state for 25 million. They're taking some money at the top to manage the program, but when they talked about water projects, I shared with the city manager, I don't know, with the water districts, how we would factor, but they're looking for projects. So I said, well, maybe Mary Esther would be a good fit for them.
Good idea.
Thanks, Mayor. It was nice sitting up there looking like you.
Oh. Mr. Oder?
Okay, went to the change of command today at Herbert Field. It was a very interesting event. A lot of people there. I got the opportunity to talk with the Fort Walton Beach Police Chief in reference to last week. I was driving by Edwin Watts at 7:15 in the morning, doing the 15 miles an hour, and I described the vehicle to the captain, the chief, that passed me on a double yellow line. So we could go around because I was going too slow. So he's going to go back to the cameras and look for the vehicle, the description I gave him. Unfortunately, I didn't get to my phone fast enough to take the license plate, but he said, I've got a description. I can go find it.
It's happened to
Which would be
me.
good. So they're going to,
They zip around
so
you.
the cameras are working. Also, I talked with the Niceville mayor in reference to their cameras, and unfortunately or fortunately, depends how you look at it, all of a sudden, they're not having as many speeders. Everybody's learned they're there, which
The goal.
again, the whole goal is to slow them, so which is,
Yeah.
well, but again, revenue source. At first, but quickly people are gonna learn that, oops, so yeah, so let's not count that, that's a big
Right.
$500,000, $1 million a year opportunity and stuff like that. The other thing, talking to the guys out at Herbert, it'll be interesting to see. They've already discussed, I was talking with the engineering commander, they don't see a lot of options, he doesn't see a lot of options other than going with the water sewer to the county. Now granted, there's always changes of command and things happen, but it's still looking very good there. The other thing is, next weekend I go back down to the policy meeting to discuss that. I sent everybody, it was forwarded to you guys, what's going on there. So that'll be interesting to see. And again, Pat Manning and I talked about the property tax thing. They've had 4 different meetings, and it will be interesting what the governor, because he's talked Friday about it. So it'll be interesting to watch what happens. And that's all I got.
Thank you. Hayward?
I can't follow that up. I have nothing there.
Dylan?
Check your mailbox, do your cybersecurity training by the end of the year, do your ethics training by the end of the year.
Jared?
Thank you, Mayor and Council, for the vote of confidence and for the pay adjustment. I appreciate it. We've got a number of projects that we're working on, some that I know Sean reviewed with you tonight, and so we're looking forward to continuing to make progress there. I think the landscaping on the medians was a huge win that we were able to get that grant, because that will make a very visual difference as you're driving through Mary Esther Boulevard. So thank you all. I will be out of the office Thursday through next Wednesday, but if you need something, please feel free to reach out to Heather, and we will work with you.
Okay,
Thank you.
Anything else? Heather, Calvin, anything? Anybody from the floor? Okay, we're adjourned.